Hey, it's the weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined by Chris Yao. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios in Columbia and in Franklin, as it turns out.
Sir, I'm in Philadelphia, if you cannot see behind me.
I'm sorry, in Philadelphia and Franklin. Yes, my bad. I
Live
didn't
from
mean
Citizens Bank Park here.
I didn't mean to give you up. Yeah. Meanwhile, I did not feel like wrestling with getting from Franklin to Columbia or Philadelphia today.
You could have gotten to Philadelphia easier than Columbia, I do believe.
Yeah, which is saying something.
It's insane right now. I don't know what's going on with traffic, but it is a mess.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is stay out of it. So,
It's a good call.
yeah. Big show as we head into the weekend. Happy Braves opening day to those who observe, as first pitch is in about 4 minutes from Citizens Bank Park. So you may be seeing the back of Chris's head for the rest of the show as he's watching the show, the game rather. But we'll be talking some Braves. Surprise, surprise, as the show progresses. We will be checking in with Ann Kimmel of Penalty Box Radio because we need to, for different reasons than the previous 18 games, unfortunately. And obviously, we'll be talking some March Madness as it continues with weekend number 2. So, and it got pretty mad last night.
Yeah, I'm. Which again, I said
You're
it was
pretty
gonna
mad
happen,
too, huh?
but no, I mean I'm not mad. I won some dollars.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, apparently my betting to manipulate results only works if I actually believe in the result.
And you didn't. So
I did the opposite of what I thought would happen, and it worked.
reverse psychology, huh?
I mean, reverse put money in my pocket.
Hey, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Well, hey, again, gonna talk some baseball, some hockey, some hoops, and a little football because minor league spring football is right up Yao's alley. So we're gonna indulge him a little bit with the opening weekend of the UFL coming up. So be chatting a little bit about that as well. But before we do anything else, Chris, we need to give our listeners yesterday's results and this weekend's sports schedule on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. The Blue Raider Voice also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
High school baseball scores from Thursday evening. Blackman with a 9-4 victory over Rockvale. Brooks of Alabama doubled up Lawrence County 4-2. It was Clarksville 14, Hartselle of Alabama 4, Stewart's Creek 5, Cookeville 1, Christ Presbyterian Academy 11, Bartlett of Illinois 1. Briarcrest Christian 5, CPA 4, Fayetteville with a 16-1 win over Culleoka. Davidson Academy blanked Brooks College Prep of Illinois 7-0. Clarksville Academy with an 8-0 win over Dixon County. It was Fairview 2, Hickman County 1. Hampshire 14, Frank Hughes 2. Franklin Simpson of Kentucky 8, Greenbrier 1. Also, I'm sorry, never mind. Lebanon 4, Gordonsville 1. Independence with an 8-3 win over Summit. Lawson by 3 touchdowns over Glencliff, 21-0. Loretto with a 5-0 victory over Hardin County. Eagleville 7, McMinn Central 3, Spain Park of Alabama 10, Middle Tennessee Christian 3, Morristown. This was a good one. Morristown 2, Murfreesboro Central 0. Gallatin 1, Providence Christian 0. Henry County 11, Providence Christian 1. Richland 18, Mount Pleasant 4. Riverdale with an 8-7 win over Science Hill. It was Rossview 11, Bob Jones of Alabama 6. Zion Christian edged Santa Fe 5-4. Siegel with a 3-2 win over Noblesville of Indiana. South Gibson with a 4-0 win over Creekwood. Nequa Valley of Illinois defeated Spring Hill 4-1. Dyer County of West Tennessee defeated Spring Hill 7-1. Overton with a 5-4 victory over University School of Nashville. It was Franklin Road Academy 7, Waverly 1, and did we not already have this?
I don't know if this is a second game or
I only saw one tweet from Zion Christian regarding this game. So
one tweet, probably one result.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that's it.
Softball action Centennial with the close one over Ravenwood 1-0. It was Clarksville.
CCHS.
Clarksville, not a close one over Northeast 13-0. It was Culleoka with the late touchdown to beat Santa Fe 14-7. Beach, a 10-4 winner over Gallatin. Greenbrier.
Culleoka, by the way, does not have football, and neither does Santa Fe. But anyway,
which is what makes it so much better to say it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, Greenbrier, Edge of Station Camp 3-2. John Overton 19-4 winners over Antioch, and Stewart's Creek 7-5 against Lincoln County. Smyrna 12, Whitwell 2. Wilson Central doubles up 11 and 10-5. Boys soccer action. Giles County blanked Lawrence County 2-0. It was Good Pasture with the Mercy rule over Clarksville Academy 9-0. NBA 3-1 winners over Overton. Antioch 4, Smyrna 1. Spring Hill 3-2 winners against Lincoln County. Columbia Central downing Warren County 7-0. In Major League Baseball, the Yankees come back to beat the Astros 5-4. We should have stayed on the air because clearly that was helping the Astros. But unfortunately, Yankees come back and get the dub. And on the ice, well, we told you it was going to happen. Phoenix ends the point streak for the Preds, doubling them up with an 8-4 victory. That's right, 8-4 over the Preds out in Phoenix.
Yeah, not pretty at all. Today's baseball games already in progress. Centennial is at Overton. Might be over. It was a noon start. 12:30 start for Coffee County and Portland. At 1, Clarksville Christian was to face Kirkwood at Kirkwood. Also at 1 o'clock, it's Trousdale County at Lebanon. 1:30 start for the White House Heritage Lenoir City matchup over in Lenoir City. Cookville at Gallatin. Gibbs and Giles County also 1 o'clock starts. 1:30 starts. Just now getting started at the top of the hour, it was Auburn of Alabama and Clarksville. Leeds of Alabama and Middle Tennessee Christian. At 3 o'clock, Metamora of Illinois faces Friendship Christian. Also, Watertown and Good Pasture meet. At 3:30, it's Beaver Creek of Ohio at Page. Franklin County is at Smyrna at 3:30. Lipscomb Academy plays at Mount Juliet at 4. At 5, it's Hampshire at Fayetteville. Fishers of Illinois is at Wilson Central. At 5:30, Watertown is at East Robertson. Also, Friendship Christian is at Hendersonville. Fairview travels to Hickman County. 6 o'clock starts for Brentwood and Beach, Columbia Central and Independence. Richland is at Mount Pleasant at 6. Crawfordsville of Indiana is at Page at 6. Also, Watkins Memorial of Ohio is at Riverdale at 6. Ditto for Zionsville of Indiana and Siegel. Licking Valley of Ohio and Smyrna. Perkins of Ohio plays Spring Hill at 6. Rockvale is at Stewart's Creek at 6. At 6:30, Harpeth travels to Hume-Fogg. Ravenwood hosts Clarksville Northeast. Greenbrier is at Springfield at 6:15. At 7 o'clock, Cheatham County is at Sycamore. Dyer County travels to Wilson Central. Middle Tennessee Christian hosts Helena. Which one, Chris?
Helena
of Alabama at 7. Times undetermined or times unknown. McEwen plays Joe Burns. Eagleville plays Knoxville Halls. Edwardsville of Illinois plays Rossview. Also, Enterprise of Alabama plays Rossview. So I assume those are at 2 different times. And that is our baseball slate for today.
All right, tomorrow's baseball action. Florence of Alabama and Middle Tennessee Christian at 9 o'clock. At 10, it's Friendship Christian and Joe Burns. Metamora, Illinois and Good Pasture at 11. Also at 11 is White House Heritage at Union County. Westmoreland and Davidson Academy at 11:30. You can catch Prattville, Alabama and Clarksville. At noon, it's Antioch at Brainerd. Fishers, Indiana against CPA. Richland at Forest. Hume Fogg hosting Adena of Ohio. LaSalle of California is at Lipscomb Academy. Middle Tennessee Monarchs and Clarksville Northwest will play. Ezel Harding is at Mount Juliet Christian. Westmoreland taking on Western Boone, Indiana. At 12:30, it's Noblesville, Indiana and Beach. Coffee County and Friendship Christian. As well as 12:30 is Forest Park, Indiana at Smyrna. At 1 o'clock, Western Boone of Indiana takes on Davidson Academy. And at 1:30, the Kings Academy takes on Giles County. Also at 1:30, Portland and Goodpasture, or Goodpasture and Joe Burns. Not entirely sure. Northwest. Yeah, Northwest is at Cascade. Coffee County's at Hendersonville at 3. Also at 3, Franklin County at Riverdale. Creekwood at Siegel. Eagleville and University High. 4 o'clock, Wilson Central welcomes Providence Christian. Clarksville Northeast is at Clarksville Academy at 6, as well as Letcher County, Kentucky is at Columbia Academy. Bryan Station, Kentucky is at takes on Eagleville, and Briarwood Christian as well takes on Rossview.
Softball. Earlier today, Cleveland of Alabama and Summit faced off. That was a 9:30 start, so my guess is that one is over.
Yeah, no score reported to this point.
Yeah. Also, Greenbrier and Portland met at noon in Portland. That one's either over or really, really close. Joe Burns defeated McEwen 7-2. At 1:30, Boyd Buchanan was facing Summit. Summit set to play Knoxville Halls at 3. Centennial travels to Overton for a 5:30 start. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, Hume Fogg is at Ravenwood. Donaldson Christian is at Friendship Christian at 1. East Nashville takes on Lawson at 5:30. On the pitch today, Ezel Harding is at Independence Academy, not Independence High School. That's a 5 o'clock first touch. At 7, Laverne is at Cookeville. Hendersonville travels to Grissom of Alabama, and Riverdale is at Lebanon. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, Hendersonville travels to Bob Jones of Alabama. Men's basketball action tonight at 9:09 and not a minute earlier. Creighton takes on Tennessee in the Sweet 16 at Detroit. That game can be seen on TBS. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Memphis Grizzlies at the Orlando Magic. That one's on Bally Sports, as is at 5, the Preds traveling to Colorado taking on the Avalanche. Those are 2 different Bally outlets for what that's worth. So, have fun with that.
MLS action on Saturday. Nashville SC is at Columbus. It's a 7:30 first touch on Apple TV. Major League Baseball currently underway, and check one leg of my parlay off as Ronald Acuna Jr. singled in the first inning and stole second. So
there we go. And got stranded there.
Stranded. Yeah, it's 0-0 right now. Braves and Phillies. Yankees and Astros tonight at 7:10. On Saturday, the Braves play at 3:05 on FS1 and Bally Sports South, which means if you were looking to watch it on FS1, too bad, you'll be blacked out if you don't have Bally. On Sunday, same thing. It'll be on MLB Network, but also on Bally, which means you're blacked out. That's a 12:35 first pitch on Sunday. For the Astros on Saturday, they host the Yankees at 6:15 on Fox. That is a nationally televised broadcast you can, in fact, watch. And same thing for Sunday, 1:10, Astros hosting the Yankees. In minor league baseball this weekend, you can catch the sounds if you want to head up to Toledo. That's a 3:05 first pitch. Don't think you'll make this one today, but you can still catch the 3:05 first pitch tomorrow and 1:05 on Sunday. And that, folks, is your rundown.
Top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch offerings, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, our top story sponsor. Top story came out late yesterday afternoon after we were off the air. Good news for Josh Heupel and the University of Tennessee football program as it relates to their 2025 recruiting class because Ensworth, excuse me, Ensworth defensive lineman Ethan Utley announced on his 17th birthday that he will sign with Tennessee as part of that 2025 recruiting class. He becomes the third in-state commit in that class, joining Brentwood Academy quarterback George McIntyre and Collierville receiver Joakim Dodson. Joakim. I'm not sure exactly how
Probably
you
Joakim
pronounce
like
it.
Noah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, but
It would be
yeah,
about that time, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah, that would
it's
make a lot of sense.
been
Yeah. Mhm.
what, 17 years since Joakim Noah?
So yeah,
So there you
yeah,
go.
roughly. Um, so yeah, their first defensive line commit, I think, in that class. So um that coaching staff continuing to have impact inside the state, putting up that fence like they always
Well,
talk about doing.
that was the first thing that he told the coaches during that event that we went to out
Mhm.
in Green Hill.
Right.
Was that they wanted to build the fence around this state. Rodney Garner has been a massive reason that they've been able to do that. He continues to do it. And, if you want to play for one of the best coaches in the country, you can go play for Rodney Garner. And, that's, I think this is a big get for obviously the Vols, but I think it's a good fit for Ethan Utley. This just continues to show, well, obviously, Tennessee has been on the forefront of the NIL and collective era and have really taken advantage of that. And they continue to do so. Getting that fence built has been a little quicker than maybe even I expected. But obviously, the faster you have success, the easier it is to get folks from your home state to commit to play for you if you want them.
Yeah. And this one, you mentioned Rodney Garner, and it's kind of ironic, not just that Ethan Utley is a defensive lineman, which is what Rodney Garner coaches, but Ethan's mom, former Whites Creek High School basketball standout Tracy Walls, went on and played at the University of Georgia, and she and Coach Garner crossed paths on the regular during that time frame and have obviously remained in touch. And so there was a little personal connection there that certainly did not hurt in the recruitment of young Mr. Utley, the 6'3.5", 265-pound Mr. Utley at 17.
I'm telling you, man, this is, as I told you about the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry hitting its peak, I just feel like this is really going to only continue to, get better as Tennessee continues to get better over the next few years. And I don't see any reason why, as so long as Josh Heupel stays, and I think he is.
As Tennessee continues to get better and as Alabama continues to become mortal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, you can't overstate how important Josh Heupel has been in these first couple of years in getting kids to buy into this program and getting it back to relevancy. It's wild to think that after going 10-2, that 8-4 is okay, and it's not okay, but
it's relative.
Rational people understood that it was relative and knew that he was playing for the future, and the future is just about here. And I mean, don't expect it to be, out of the realm of possibility to see Tennessee fighting for a playoff spot this year and in the very near future because of these recruiting classes that he's putting together and these kids who are staying in state. So got to give it up to Hype. And again, it's not just football. there are other sports that the rivalry continues to
Mm.
gain in.
And is it a rising tide lifts all boats at the University of Tennessee?
I think so. I think it's the NIL. I mean, again, Tennessee and NIL they were on the forefront of this thing. They knew exactly how to make it work from the beginning, and they figured it out, and then they've made it work for them. And it doesn't appear as if the NCAA is going to do anything about it unless Congress allows it. And I don't think Congress is allowing it. So here we are.
It doesn't appear as if the NCAA is going to be able to do anything about it. So here we are, like you said. The Phillies go down 1-2-3. Bryce Harper striking out, swinging for the third out. No score after one at Citizens Bank Park.
They're not even moving back here.
When we come back to the Lee Company studio here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we will be joined by Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, talking a little hoops. So let's do that after this break. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Weekend update continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Chris Yao checking in from Citizens Bank Park in Philly. Joining us now, talking a little Sweet 16 from Southeastern 14. It's the Blake Lovell. Mr. Lovell, good afternoon.
Hello, guys. Yeah, Sweet 16 action for Tennessee. We've got one SEC team already advancing, so we'll see what happens here tonight in this one.
Let's talk about that one SEC team that's already advancing. Alabama trailed by, I think it was 8, maybe at halftime, 54-46 in that one. Turned it around down the stretch. Got out with an 89-87 victory over top seed North Carolina to advance. Grant Nelson, I mean, is he the X factor? Was he the X factor? Did it feel like in that one?
Yeah, I mean, he was dominant, right? I mean, he had one of the most impressive halves I've seen anybody in the SEC have all season. Like, he was just, it felt like every time Alabama found themselves in a situation where they had to have something go right, he was always the person that was right there doing it. And like you mentioned, I mean, you think about just kind of how that game and how it flowed. It was like he always found himself in a spot where he had to make a big play. I mean, he finishes with 24 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks, including the final one, at the end where he's blocking a full court shot, which you don't see very often. But it's just, I think what I said last that really stood out to me was when you have a game like this for Alabama, where Mark Sears is your 4th leading scorer, and you just beat the number 1 seed in the West to advance to the Elite 8, that tells you something. That tells you that, because if you'd asked me beforehand, is Alabama win this game? If I just ask one question, is Mark Sears their 4th leading scorer? Are they going to win this game? I said, nope. Because I'd been like, probably not, but right? Because you're like, that means he didn't have a good game. Is anyone else stepping up? But they had Nelson step up, Estrada stepped up, Griffin stepped up. Sears still had a fine game. Maybe his percentages, he missed a couple shots, but still, I mean, that's what you got to have if you're going to, advance in the tournament. And I think you can probably draw some parallels to that Tennessee-Creighton game tonight, which I know we'll talk about, where Tennessee's going to need the same thing, I think. So
he was their 4th leading scorer, but again, he scored 18 points.
Yeah, that's
on
the thing,
7
right?
of 14 from the floor. So, I mean, he was 2 of 7 from behind the arc, and only got to the free throw line twice. But a 4th leading scorer, when you score 89 points, might be a little misleading as well. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that is the answer to that question theoretically. So, I mean, kudos to Nelson and everybody else. But
yeah, how about them North Dakota State Bison?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Like the 2 guys we may be talking about, if you get 2 teams in the in the Elite 8, we know one's there. We're going to be talking about a guy from North Dakota State, and we're also going to be talking about a guy from Northern Colorado, probably. Like, those are the 2 guys that have somehow changed the fortunes of these 2 programs. If they're in the Elite 8, one step away from the Final Four. And that just shows you the value of the transfer portal era and the value of going and finding guys that can translate to what you do, even if it's always a guessing game of going and getting a guy from a low major league. Like, it's just, you're always guessing, but if you see the skill set that's there, you can have it pay off just like Alabama did last night.
And I'll tell you what, Blake, there is another kid from Northern Colorado who is currently in the transfer portal, and I would imagine he's going to have some significant traffic thanks to Mr. Connect.
Yeah, it's like if you see it one time around, you're like, okay. And that's where I think we are seeing this a lot more now, where you look at guys, and obviously someone like that, I just think, I mean, you guys know this, but when you see the amount of money that's being thrown around in some of these NIL things, especially when you have guys like that you're like, okay, this feels like a surefire guy. I think Thomas started his career, I want to say Loyola Chicago. He was with that team a couple of years ago, then went there. And so it's like, you look at these situations now, and you realize that if there's a guy out there that can play, and you realize that the skill set, like I said, is going to translate to one of these upper tier type leagues, the amount of money going out to these guys, they'll get there. They'll find a way to get there, and the teams will find a way to get them there. So
this doesn't necessarily speak to Sweet 16, but along those lines, Blake, Jacoby Gillespie from Belmont, it was announced yesterday that he has signed with Maryland. I mean, that's another type guy along those lines, I would think.
yeah, he's from what I hear, he's getting a nice chunk of change to play at Maryland.
Good for him.
Right, that's the thing. Is right. It's like what else do you say? I mean, these guys, I hate it for Belmont, right? I hate that they're going to lose guys, and that's just the way it works, right? But I mean, when you think about the money that's on the table, like this is again, I hate it for Belmont, I hate it for Casey Alexander. Always want them to succeed and have a great a chance as possible every year to get to the NCAA tournament. But this is where the game is now, and I mean, it's just who can basically shell out the most money, and that's kind of what a lot of this stuff's coming down to. And yeah, sure, it's you put teams like that and programs like that and in these conferences at a tough disadvantage, but it's, hey, guy's going to go out and get his money, and Maryland certainly, is putting out a lot of money, I think, for him. But you could see, I mean, this guy had a skill set that was very clear. He's there. Like, he can be someone that's good enough to go play, at a Maryland. And so, yeah, it's the nature of where things are right now. So
it's going to happen, though. I mean, just like it's happening at Belmont. I mean, DeVries got the job at West Virginia. He's taking his kid with him from Drake. It kind of reminds me of the Sinclairs, the dinosaur family from Dinosaurs that was on ABC. It's the food chain, bigger eat smaller, right? I mean, that's unfortunately it's kind of where we're at.
Yep, state of the game.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. Because I was going a different direction.
Would you have ever expected a Clemson, Alabama Elite Eight game?
No.
In basketball.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like going to the tournament. Yeah, right. And I'm like, if Alabama's got multiple revenge angles here. They can get revenge for the game they lost to Clemson back in November, but they can also try to get revenge for the college football national championship. So like they got a lot to work with here for a number 4 seed in the Elite Eight with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. So, but I mean, I said before, hey, this West, we always feel like every time we talk about the West, like we use the Wild West angle, but you had the number 4, number 1 seed. And so if it's the lowest ranked number 1 seed, and then you've got all these other possibilities that are there, I mean, in my bracket I had Alabama in the Elite Eight, but I said I only think they can get there if they beat Michigan State, not North Carolina. I just thought it was a worse matchup. But now it's like Clemson. Think about how many people. I did not think twice about Clemson and New Mexico. I said, New Mexico, hot as can be. I know they're part of the Mountain West, and the Mountain West has struggled, but like I'm advancing New Mexico in any bracket I would fill out. And I'm sure there were countless people who did the same thing. And yet here Clemson is, Brad Brownell on hot seat watch number 483. And, here he is. He's got a team away from Final Four.
Clemson on the hot seat, has he not?
Yeah. I mean, it's like he spent his entire career there. And it's interesting because, like, I can remember, I think I met Brad Brownell. The first time I ever met him, I was actually still coaching in high school. And he had came to Springfield to watch Corey Stanton play. I don't know if you guys remember Corey Stanton. He wound up
I know the name.
He wound up going, I don't remember where he ended up. I think he went to Clemson at some point. Started at Wright State maybe. But so, like, I can remember it. I'm just thinking, man, that was not that long ago. But, like, he's been at Clemson for, again, seemingly forever. And I feel like ever since he's gotten there, 2011, yeah, my goodness. He's been on the hot seat since probably his second or third year. And he's still there. And now, here he goes. So,
well, that Clemson is. We all talk trash about the ACC. We all did, and now look at them. I mean, NC State gets a win tonight, and you're going, holy crap! Look at look at this conference. But there are now 4 teams in the Elite Eight. Of those 4 teams, Tennessee is 3-0 against 2 of them. And obviously it's it would be perfectly Tennessee to not make the Elite Eight after being undefeated against teams already in it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would not be a great setup when you feel like your opportunity is there, to put it lightly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I look at this entire region, like these 4 teams that are left in that part, like Purdue, Gonzaga, Creighton, Tennessee. I'm like, I think you could legitimately make the. Now, let me say this. If you take UConn out of the mix, because I don't, at this point, I wouldn't bet on anyone not named UConn. But if you're just like, okay, who's going to meet UConn, right, in the championship? I mean, listen, I think any 4 of these teams would give UConn a very interesting game in that kind of scenario. I don't know if I could say that about all the other 4 teams, right, that are left in the other part. Houston, Duke, sure they could. I'm still not sure about Marquette. I know they're here, but NC State, I don't think in that scenario would be certainly a great play against UConn in the national championship. But yeah, so I'm like, it could be any of these 4, and like it's interesting to say that with the Zags too, because I feel like the Zags they've gone from, all right, everybody looks at them as, Goliath now. And now they're getting to embrace being David again. Like, everybody picking them to lose to McNeese State in the first round, and they're just blowing people out left and right. Like, they blew them out. They blew Kansas out. So I could see the Zags doing this. So give me Tennessee and the Zags. I'd like to see that.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Don't want Purdue. Trust me. I understand why.
Anybody but Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, Purdue maybe the closest thing to a lock besides UConn, as long as, just because of Zach Edey, obviously, because he's such a mismatch issue for everybody else. But it really does kind of feel like UConn and everybody else.
Yeah, they've just been tremendous. And I think sometimes when we do this, look, let's also call it what it is. I mean, this is not something we see every year, where just the team from the previous year is so dominant the following year that it just makes it easy to make a case for them to go back-to-back, because, of course, you haven't seen it since Florida did it, many years ago now. But I'm like, sometimes we just overthink it going into the tournament. They were clearly the best team coming into the tournament. They have looked like the best team to this point, and so it is going to take a remarkable performance from somebody to beat them. Now, Illinois, the best offensive team in the country per the numbers. So maybe that's a reason that they can challenge them, but I don't know.
Is it interesting to you that offense has kind of been the calling card of the teams in the Elite Eight?
It definitely, because we were, and I don't have the stat in front of me, but we were talking about this before when we were breaking down the teams in the SEC, specifically Alabama, Kentucky, and Florida. There's some kind of crazy stat out there about, a team like in Ken Palm's defensive numbers or whatever no one like outside of the top 100 has ever. I think Miami was actually the first team to do it, and guess what? That was last year. So you've only had like one team in that many years has ever done it with a defense that's like outside the top 100. And you're like, well, there's no way Alabama can. Now Kentucky, well, it worked out fine for that stat in that one, but since they lost in the first game. But Florida same way. But like Alabama's here, and if they get to the Final Four, then it is like you're going to look around and say, man, look at all these offensive teams that just decided, hey, and that's what I've said about Alabama all year long. I'm like, I know people want to just count this team out, and there were times where it probably was easy to when they're struggling down the stretch during the regular season, but sometimes the game is simple to where all you have to do is outscore your opponent by a single point, and you may give up a lot of points, but they are so good offensively that and that's the thing about the tournament. It's not always about the teams who have been the most complete all season. It's just the teams that get hot and make enough shots that advance. And Alabama's done that to this point.
Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Blake, the last time we visited with you, you all but predicted Oakland to beat Kentucky. What you got this week?
I mean, you get one right every now and then. Well, this week I'm batting 0% because I think someone asked me yesterday if I gave NC State or Clemson a better chance to pull the upset, and I was all in on NC State, so I missed out on that one. It's one we just talked about, and I'm not completely all in on it, but just because we've gotten to this point, and I just think you got a lot of good teams left, but there is something about this Gonzaga team that I look at, and I know we all came in thinking they were overseeded. This team's nowhere near as good as the teams he's had there. But I saw a team that was playing with something to prove in the first weekend, and they came out and they were not messing around.
Well, and it wasn't just they were playing with something to prove, but we go back, Mo, to what I said before the tournament. I had Gonzaga losing in the first round, but only because Will Wade does weird things.
Right.
But I said if they win, if they beat McNeese, I think they had a shot at the Final Four because going into the conference tournament, they had just beaten St. Mary's. They were playing as good of basketball as they've ever played at Gonzaga over the last 3 or 4 weeks. It just seemed like they got hot at the right time, and this may be the time that Mark Few gets over the hump.
Yeah, we're used to seeing them play like they did, a couple of years ago, where they're winning every game, they're dominating non-conference games. But it took a while for them to get going. But once they did get going, they got going. And they did kind of look like the old Gonzaga teams that he's had in recent years that have just been dominant at times. And so I think that's one because, listen, we can talk about Purdue and all this other stuff, but, do people still completely trust Purdue? The numbers are there. I don't, in these kind of settings. I just don't. Unfortunately, Tennessee and Purdue wouldn't it be fitting, right, to have Tennessee and Purdue with a chance to go to the Final Four when these are the two teams that people just – for many years have not trusted, but somebody would have to get there. They'd have no choice. So, it's I don't know that I completely can trust Purdue in this spot, even though the numbers tell me they're going to be just fine. But so that's the one I would pick of the ones that are left. I mean, I think, again, if you don't go with the obvious one with NC State Marquette, which I'm not 100% sold on, I think it happened, but I think Gonzaga could give Purdue everything that they want and potentially win this game. So
I got to give you and Chris props for being able to be up at 8 a.m. after last night's game.
Listen, we just said this an hour ago. We were talking about this an hour ago. We were trying to figure out our schedule.
I did
not realize this game tonight. How does this game tonight start later than the one last night that was played on the West Coast?
On the West Coast?
Yeah. Why is this game starting at probably, it's 9:08 or whatever. It's going to be 9:30. We all know how this works. So, why is that happening in a game that's played?
Which, by the way, is 10:30 Knoxville time.
Right. Yes, it's 10:30. So, but guess what? Our plan, we're going to do another 8 a.m. show tomorrow. So all the hardcores out there who want to get up at 8 a.m., they're going to be up till 3, partying it till 5 a.m. probably if Tennessee wins. Just
stay up. Stay up.
Just stay up, okay?
There you go.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Blake Lovell, Southeastern 14, dropping some hoops knowledge on us as he always does. Man, we appreciate your time. And I'll be up at 8 o'clock as well, but I'll be on a baseball diamond in Brentwood. So y'all have fun and wish me luck.
If Tennessee loses, that'll be the better place to be. Trust me, because I'm sure it'll be interesting in the comments if so. So.
Oh, goodness gracious. No doubt. Hey, man, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, we will continue March Madness talk. I'm going to talk a little ladies. So stay with us after this break from the Lee Company Studios.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
The Weekend Update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, continues. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Chris Yao. We will be visiting with Ann Kimmel of Penalty Box Radio later in the show, talking a little Preds. But right now, it is Oregon State 43, Notre Dame 33, with 7:19 remaining in the third quarter of some region semifinal game. I guess it's the Albany 1 quarterfinal. So I really hate the way the women's tournament is set up.
Well, a lot of people are saying that, maybe doing that men's and women's thing. We talked about it, I guess, a couple days ago. But, a lot of people saying to put them together, and obviously there are some logistic issues with that, hotel rooms, etc. But I mean, at this point, it just seems like it might be better for both sides.
I mean, it might be better for the NCAA just from a standpoint of maybe it helps them with some of their gender equity issues that they have experienced at various times. But
they'd still screw it up.
Well, sadly, you're right. But
they'd put them in a diamond hotel and the women the comforting
in a Motel 6.
Yeah. So I mean,
the bad thing is, I mean, you're so right. And it's so unfortunate that you are right, but you are, it's unreal. Anyway, I guess the second game in the Albany 1 is number 2 Stanford, number 3 NC State. In the other region that's playing today, you've got 4th-seeded Indiana and top seed South Carolina playing the early game. No, that's not right. The winner of this game apparently plays the winner of Texas and Gonzaga. I don't know,
buddy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Well, and this is the problem with having the only 2 regionals.
Okay, Oregon State, Notre Dame winner plays South Carolina, Indiana winner.
That's correct.
Okay. And then later tonight, you've got Stanford and NC State and Texas and Gonzaga. And
Yeah.
those winners will play each other on Sunday. There we go.
Man, the chalk in the women's bracket, which I mean is not unusual. This does happen, most of the time. When there's not chalk, it is rare. But my goodness, if not for, I guess Portland 3. If not for Portland 3 with a 5 seed and a 7 seed, it would just be.
Yeah, I think 13 of your 16 teams that got through to the Sweet 16 were top 4 seeds. You've got
5 seed Colorado,
5 seed Baylor, and 7 seed Duke.
So, I mean, that's it.
It's pretty chalky, like you said.
And the only non-top 8 seed to win in the first round was Middle.
Yeah. Now, you say that, but I think it was 12 of 16 on the men's side.
Yeah, but I mean, this is almost always. I mean, rarely does the women's bracket end up with a lot of first round upsets. And that's a lot of that is because of the parity that we see among these power 6 conferences or power 5 conferences in women's. I don't guess the Big East is as powerful in women's as it is men's.
Well, you've still got UConn. But it's UConn and everybody else.
But it's UConn and exactly. So I mean, you kind of we've seen the parity grow, but it hasn't quite gotten to, outside of what Florida Gulf Coast a couple years ago when they shot the lights out against everybody. But it's never those teams. But it is nice to finally see, South Carolina looks like it's going to go all the way to the championship, but I mean, there's a lot of folks think UConn can win this thing. A lot of folks think Stanford can win this thing. A lot of folks think Texas can win this thing. And then of course LSU won it last year. So, I mean, it makes for a really good Sweet 16 tournament on. It doesn't quite have the allure in the first weekend that the men, because there are so few upsets. But once you get to the Sweet 16, this becomes a very, very exciting bracket.
And it's interesting that you say that because, again, on Saturday in the Albany 2 region, you've got Iowa and Colorado, number 1 seed Iowa, number 5 Colorado. It's the second game. Preceding it is number 2 UCLA and number 1 LSU. Now, we know that TV wants Iowa LSU in a rematch of last year's national championship game.
Well, to this point, they've made sure that they got this far.
And that's my question. Do they, I mean,
not sorry.
Do they make sure with a number 2 seed standing in the way this time?
Can you name one player on UCLA's team?
I can't.
Then yes. They're going to make sure. Look, I mean, it just is what it is. Also,
again,
I went
can't
to look
argue
back
with
because
you.
I thought this was right, and I went back to look. Iowa beat Colorado in the in the Sweet 16 last year to get to the Elite 8. 87-77 was the final there. So
that was after Colorado beat MTSU in the opening round and Duke in the second round in Durham, by the way. So yeah. So Colorado with a little bit of a score to settle tomorrow, they won.
Right.
Yeah. So in the other bracket, the Portland 3 bracket, I presume, you've got top seed USC and number 5 Baylor playing at 4:30 tomorrow, followed by number 3 UConn and number 7 Duke at 7. Duke coached by former Tennessee guard Kara Lawson,
who beat Ohio State to get there. Got to give them credit to go on the road into Columbus,
going into Columbus
and getting the win. Now you've got UConn on a neutral court, which I mean, again, Paige Buckets is potentially the best player in this tournament. I mean, arguably, of course, with at least 2 or 3 others.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I know Gino Auriemma is going to fight for his players and say things like Paige Beckers is the best player in the tournament. And if you watch the game, you saw that, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's anybody who's seen enough best players in the country over their career, it's Gino Auriemma. And I love to hate the guy, but you got to, I mean, you also have to give him, you know, the respect he deserves on talent evaluation.
Well, when we talk about Gino Auriemma's talent evaluation, I'm gonna mention one name to you: Candace Parker.
I mean, sure, but
I mean, he cut her from Team USA.
I don't know if that was a talent evaluation thing. I mean, I literally think that he and Candace have a personal beef.
Yeah. And when you've got personal beef and you let it get in the way of your professional decision making, that's an issue.
I mean, maybe, but if you're trying to keep drama out of the locker room and they chose you to be the coach, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess what that says to me is, or what that makes me say is, I just don't know how objective Gino is when he says that Paige Beckers is the best player in college basketball. And she just happens to play for him.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think he's wrong. I mean, overall, best player. If she doesn't get hurt 2 years ago, you know, who knows what happens. But her injuries have certainly slowed her down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why UConn's a 3 seed, because they've not been as dominant, because she's not been as dominant. Now, that being said, you know, they go and they beat Duke and then they beat Southern Cal and make to the Final Four. Maybe they get a chance, they get a chance to play, whether it's Iowa or UCLA or LSU or I guess Colorado. Then we kind of go from there. But she's certainly in the conversation, and UConn is always going to be in the conversation because, much like Alabama basketball or Alabama football, you go to UConn to win championships, and to this point, it's a disappointing season if they're not in the Final Four.
She's in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a longer and deeper conversation this year than and possibly ever.
Ever. I would agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
something
I can't wait to watch Paige Beckers and Juju go at it. I think it's going to be a matchup of just two great basketball players, and Juju's youth is probably going to come to the surface at some point, because Paige Beckers is much like some of those players that like to get in your head, the Larry Bird types.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll see how that, I'll be excited to see how that plays out. So I'm rooting for that matchup, although I'm not going to be sad in any shape, form, or fashion if Duke puts UConn out. UConn is one of those teams that you'd like to see lose as quickly as possible, especially if you're on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah. So let's take a break. Let's come back and let's talk a little baseball here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We'll be returning to the Lee Company studios after this.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
March 29th, 1997 marked the introduction of the Chipper Jones candy bar by Mally's Chocolates. The 24-year-old third baseman was hopeful the milk chocolate and crisp rice confection could be sold in schools as a fundraiser. No word on how successful that endeavor was. That was this day in Braves history.
Must not have been too successful. I've never heard of the Chipper Jones candy bar.
You know, I hadn't either until I went looking for the TDIBH item for today, and that was what I came up with. Yeah, interesting for sure. You know, for a couple of folks who think they know a lot about Braves history to have not been familiar with that. I don't know how far outside of Atlanta that went, but yeah.
That's true. I'm assuming that that's the, you know, like those kids in the parking lot that are trying to raise money to go to a ball tournament or play 3-on-3 at Summit High School. We got hit up for that.
Oh goodness, that was wild. No score through 4. Chris, I don't know if you've noticed behind you, but nobody has crossed the plate at Citizens Bank Park yet. So
yeah, we are 4 strikeouts, a Trey Turner hit, and a Braves win away from me hitting the big parlay. So Trey Turner being the scariest part of this so far.
Yeah, as long as Spencer Strider is still on the mound, yeah, that might still be might still be scary for you. Strider and Wheeler getting the starts today for the Braves and Phillies.
And they are going at it, boy.
Yeah.
As we all expected, Jason Kelnick with tied for the best. I'm sorry, Jared Kelnick tied for the best batting average on the team so far.
1,000.
Hitting 1,000.
Yeah. Acuna, Harris, and Kelnick with the 3 hits for Atlanta thus far. Alec Boehm, who still hasn't touched the plate from 2 years ago, with Philadelphia's only hit to this point.
But also a strikeout in the last inning. So
there we go. We'll take it. Yeah. So that's where we are right now in that one.
The Braves, man, and I just saw this because you know I keep Twitter up while we're playing, but
scrolling through as you are wont to do.
Yeah. In the first inning, Acuna got a base hit. Riley grounded out to third, I think. Olsen ended the inning with a line drive. Of those all 3 of those guys, 102 plus exit velo. And Riley and Olsen couldn't get it out of the infield. You get those out of the infield, and goodness gracious. But great defensive plays. Don't get me wrong. Great defensive plays by the Phillies, and well done to them. Give them props where you know they deserve. But the Braves just have not stopped squaring the ball up since last year. I mean, they squared up better than anybody in Major League Baseball, and I don't think it's going to be something that the rest of the league wants to see continue, and I don't see it going anywhere.
Can't stop, won't stop.
It's easily the best lineup in baseball.
And I don't care who thinks otherwise. As one just went under Trey Turner's glove for a base hit, maybe an error.
They are calling it an infield single. Okay. No, I'm sorry. They're calling it Murphy safe at first on a shortstop, Turner fielding error.
Oh, and Boehm just bobbled one.
Yeah. They gave Arcia a hit and Murphy an error.
Oh, so apparently they like Boehm better than they like Trey Turner?
They must.
Because, I mean, I don't know how many times you got to catch this one.
Yeah. Also in that
put a handle on it, Alec. Yeah. So
also in that first inning, Mo, Ozzie Albies flied out 96.2 off the bat, and it went 341. So if he had hit it down the line, it's a homer.
Bad aim.
Bad aim. There you go.
Bad aim. So again, Braves and Phillies continue their series tomorrow. Fried and Nola. That's a 3:05 start as well. Sunday finale, 12:35. You've got Chris Sale making his regular season debut for the Braves, and Ranger Suarez on the bump for the Phillies in that one. So,
speaking
as Chris said, good luck seeing them, huh? So,
there you go. Yeah. Speaking of the Phillies here, as Mo's camera has.
Oh.
There he is. He's back. Former Philly Rhys Hoskins slid into second base in the Milwaukee Mets game in the top of the 8th, and Jeff McNeil, unhappy, bench is clear.
Oh no!
As New York and Milwaukee players are staring at one another very, intensely. And listen, these benches clearing thing is hilarious because we've got everybody in the bullpen ran to the field. Mets and Brewers players running side by side through center field to get to their people. Like, I mean, come on, if we're going to clear benches, we shouldn't get off the warning track. Let's just
we can just do it right here. Right here on the grass.
I mean, they were. It's so fun. They're just jogging. Right up through center field, side by side, like, okay, guys, what are we doing here?
Well, we got to make sure we get here. So, yeah.
course, Jeff McNeil can be unhappy all he wants, but that guy,
What was he unhappy about?
that Hoskins slid into second base. But let's not forget this, Mo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Jeff McNeil. Nobody cares if Jeff McNeil is happy or not. The less happy he is, the better I like it. So,
oh man, I can't believe it. Hey, let's start the season off right though. Let's get these benches cleared early and often, baby.
Yeah. So if you can see the show, you can see our lower third. This is baseball chatter, this segment. And if you'd like to sponsor it, you can. Just
please do. Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
We've got a show just for you. Got a spot. We'll put your phone number, your website, your logo. We got you.
We do have you. Yeah. As you mentioned, Chris, Yankees 5, Astros 4, the final on opening day for most everybody else yesterday. A come from ahead loss for the Astros in that one.
Tough day.
Yeah. Unfortunate for the third member of our crew.
Baltimore had no trouble with the Angels, even though Trout did homer.
Even though Trout did, and that's been a story. That's going to be a story. Trout homers, Angels lose.
Well, I'm surprised that, I know it was in the first inning, so maybe that's why. But I'll be surprised if Mike Trout sees a pitch near the strike zone all year.
Ever?
Because who's protecting him?
Yeah. I mean, who's going to drive him in if he's on base? Yeah. Orioles 11-3 the final there. Our NASCAR expert Heather Williams not very happy. Twins 4, Royals 1.
How about them Diamondbacks? You sent us that last night. 14 runs in the third.
A record for any team in any inning on opening day. And if you're the Rockies, I mean, you're giving up 14 in the third on day one. And is the white flag up or what?
I mean, you would think.
It's kind of like Wade said, you can't win 162 if you don't win the first one. If you lose the first one, then losing 162 is in play, I guess.
It is indeed. And they did all of that without Corbin Carroll getting a hit.
They did all of that without a home run as well.
That might be the most impressive part of it. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. So they sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, they sent more than. Oh, this is just plays that scored runs. I don't know how many they sent to the plate, but
in the
third inning, yes.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, man, here's the thing. Zach Gallen started that game for the Diamondbacks, and it's like, how long was he sitting in the dugout watching that? 34 minutes.
18 batters. They batted
18
around twice.
batters.
They hit around twice.
Ugh. That's tough. It was Kyle Freeland's third opening day start for the Rockies, and pretty safe to say it's his last.
One would think. I don't know. Who else is going to do it?
Well, good question. Good question.
Did you see the crowd in Oakland? As such it was.
Crowd doing a lot of work right there, huh?
Yeah. Did you see the people who showed up to the A's game? This is one of those, they introduced the fans to the players to save time.
Yeah. Now did the people that showed up for the game, did they go inside the stadium or did they stay outside the stadium because there was some.
There were 10 or 12 in there. I mean, I saw the pictures, and it's hard to find people. And I'm not sure how many of those weren't like workers who just decided to sit down. Because who do you usher? There's no one to usher.
Yeah,
there's you can't usher if there's no one to usher.
Well, and it's understandable. I mean, the folks that were there, the few that were there, were disappointed, but probably not surprised, as Cleveland won 8-0.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Athletics and the Rockies are equally horrible, maybe.
Maybe, and maybe that's on the A's. They didn't. Langeliers didn't play. Oh, yeah, he did. I'm sorry. He was 0 for 3. I apologize.
But he did play.
He did. Yeah, he was the catcher.
Okay.
Alex Wood with the L. Kyle Muller in relief went 2.2 with only 1 hit.
Maybe he shouldn't be in relief.
Hey, 2 2/3 for Muller, man. How about that?
Solid. JJ Bleday 2 for 4 for Oakland. Brent Rooker 0 for 4.
Yeah, it was not a great day for the offense in Oakland. It was, however, a great day for offense, as we said, in Arizona, and not just for the baseball team, Mo.
Okay.
Phoenix's hockey team had a pretty good offensive output too.
They did, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that on the other side of this break, as we will be joined by Penalty Box Radios and Kimmel. Chris has questions. Hopefully Ann will have answers when we come back to the Lee Company studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
The weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Chris Yao. We are now joined by Ann Kimmel of Penalty Box Radio. And Ann, we visited a few weeks ago following a 9-2 Dallas Stars victory over the Nashville Predators. We reconvene here following an 8-4 Arizona Coyotes win over the Nashville Predators. And the two games felt a lot alike, seemed like to me. Now, 18 games in between were plenty successful, but I think Chris Yao is left with at least one question that is very similar to the one that he asked after the Dallas Stars debacle. So I'll yield to the gentleman from Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming. You just take this 18-game stretch out, and I know you can't just do that, but over the season, it just feels like we've got to have a conversation about UC Saros, man, because when he's great, but when he's bad, he's putrid, and it's interesting to me that Milwaukee has a new goaltender today.
Yes, I saw that. And I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down, Chris. Like I get why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. It's like, I think there's an old nursery rhyme: when he's good, he's very good, and when he's bad, he's naughty. Now, I'm not saying that UC Saros is naughty, but when he is off of his game, there is a notice difference. It's an eye test thing. And we could see in the Arizona game, relatively early in that game, okay, Saros isn't tracking the puck like he normally is. This is what I will say to that. He also wasn't getting the same defense in front of him that he has been getting during the 15 games he played over that 18-game stretch. So I wouldn't say that I'm concerned about UC Saros's long-term viability in any stretch of the imagination. Now, you do want him in prime form if the Predators are going to make it into the postseason. And I think that Andrew Brunette and the goaltending coach are going to be pretty intentional about getting him what he needs to be ready. Saros thrives on consistency, which is why I think you saw him get the start in Arizona. I wouldn't panic yet. But I did also notice that Milwaukee called up a goaltender. So let's just see who may or may not show up here. Could be an injury to either Troy Grosnick or, heaven help us, Yaroslav Askarov, but it's something to keep your eye on.
Well, and I think that was our biggest question, Mo, was why was UC in goal against Phoenix? I mean, why even put him out there for that?
Yeah, that was something that we did discuss, and because now you almost feel like you have to play him tomorrow against Colorado.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky dance. Andrew Burnett, we've talked with him about how do you decide who gets the starts, because Kevin Lankinen, stats aside, darn good backup goaltender and somebody you want to have ready if the Preds go in the postseason. But Saros, again, better with consistency. They tend to pencil in the goaltending schedule about a month out. And I think we're in the point in the season where they're going to be very intentional about making sure both goaltenders are where they need to be for a potential postseason run. For Saros, that means consistency. But Kevin Lankinen also has really earned starts. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see who does get the start against Colorado. Mentally, you want to give it to Saros. Give him a chance to get right back in net, have a good game and get confidence in all of that. But you also can't discount the fact that Kevin Lankinen has been very good against very good teams in the NHL as well. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what decision Andrew Brunette and the goaltending staff make tomorrow night.
And Kimmel, Penalty Box Radio, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. And, you know, I was telling Chris and Wade the other night, I think that Tuesday night game against Vegas was the first Preds hockey game that I've watched in its entirety, maybe since 2017. They go into that down 4-1 going into the third period. They come back, force a tie, win it in overtime. And so even as bad as things were last night, you're kind of sitting there in one vein waiting for the switch to flip.
Right.
And it never got flipped.
It was that I've seen you do it. Like, you brought home an A, don't bring me a report card with a C. And the Nashville Predators brought the report card with a C. And I think part of it is they got beat at their own game. Arizona just outplayed the Nashville Predators and played the way the Predators have been beating other teams. I think part of it is just the natural evolution of an 82-game season, in that even really great teams are going to lay an egg. And this may be Nashville's egg. Like, it may be the emotion, the physical demands, the mental demands, the pressures of this long point streak, this franchise record. It may just need a release, and they may not have been able to dig deep enough in Arizona. And I think we saw that. They didn't have it. They didn't have their game. I think
it just always seems to happen against teams that stink.
Arizona, though, I will argue this. Arizona, I don't think is as bad as their record is. They are hitching the giddy up for the Nashville Predators. They always seem to get the Predators, but I don't think Arizona is as bad as their record makes you think they are. So I take some solace in that for the Predators, but this season, Arizona has had their number. The timing has lined up where Nashville has been struggling, and they played Arizona, and Arizona was getting great goaltending from former Predator Connor Ingram. You know, they have a Lawson Krause, they have Clayton Keller. So I think timing plays a part in it this season as well.
It's interesting. So going into tomorrow, how do you feel like Andrew Brunette approaches this? Hey, guys, the monkey's off the back. Let's go out and just play our game, and we don't have to worry about anything. We can just go play.
I think that is exactly the message in the locker room. And they've worked really hard in the locker room among the team from the coaching staff to say this is a game at a time. It's not about the point streak. They were very interested in breaking the franchise record, but they just really need to take it a game at a time. And last night's loss was, I think, significant enough. And the way that they lost that game is, I think, going to be a little jarring for the Predators, which may work to their advantage because they have to get back to their game and they're going to be much more intentional. Andrew Brunette talked about it's almost harder to coach a team when they're winning because you can win games and still not be playing your best. And you can convince yourself we're doing everything right because we're getting the results when the process isn't where it needs to be. I think the slate is clean on that after an 8-4 loss to Arizona. And hopefully Andrew Brunette and the team are going to be ready to head to Denver and see what they can do against a really tough Avalanche team.
And quiet as it's kept, the playoffs are not necessarily a lock for the Predators at this point. Is that right?
That's right. They do not have a playoff spot locked up yet. They need to get back and get some points. Vegas is kind of creeping up to try to take that number one wild card spot. Interestingly, Winnipeg is having a little bit of a time. They're in that third Central Division spot. So if Nashville could get back to winning and Winnipeg continues to struggle, this could go a number of different ways for the Predators. And they want to be in a position where they control their own destiny, which means they've got to win these games.
So you go to Colorado on Saturday. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but where do we go from there?
They're going to be back and they're going to be playing Boston. Won't that be fun?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Boston
that's going to be great. And then they're going to face a very hungry St. Louis team. So, and next week on Saturday, they're going to wrap up that week against the New York Islanders. So, there aren't a lot of coast games to wrap up this regular season for the Predators. They are going to have to really get back to consistently playing the game that brought them this success over this stretch, because there are no gimme games on this schedule.
And this late week schedule gets a little grueling all of a sudden because, like you said, they've got St. Louis coming in here on Thursday. Then they go to the Islanders and to the Devils back to back Saturday, Sunday before coming back home and catching Winnipeg on Tuesday the 9th. So,
yeah. And that Winnipeg game is going to be big. I think that's a game, if you're looking at,
I was going to
high
say,
noon, it's Winnipeg.
I mean, depending on what happens this coming week, they've got LA at home and Calgary at home before going to Minnesota. I mean, if you are within a point and you can either tie or take that third spot on Tuesday the 9th, it gets real interesting because then they've got Dallas and Colorado right after that, which are two games that are very losable for Winnipeg.
Very true.
And so, I mean, you're sitting there going, okay, we've got a chance to get out of the wild card here and get into one of those top 3 division spots. And once you get to that point, the entire thing changes.
It does. So, it's a different ball game. Yeah, for sure.
This is interesting. When we talked probably a week ago, I didn't think that there was any way possible because I think Dallas, Colorado, and Winnipeg all had 94 points at the time, or 92 points or something like that. And obviously the Predators were in the low to mid 80s. And I was like, there's no way, because Winnipeg's just going to, they're going to pull and stay far enough away. But now, yeah, it's only 9 games to go, but you're only 4 points out. You got a shot.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting. Winnipeg has a tough schedule. Nashville has to win some of these games, and it's not going to be a walk in the park either. Colorado, Boston, New York Islanders, and again, Winnipeg. So this is going to be a very interesting finish to the regular season for Nashville, who wants to get into the postseason. And if you can get in, like you said, to the postseason in one of those top 3 spots, it's a little bit of a different ball game looking at the playoffs.
And Kimmel of Penalty Box Radio joining us here on Main Street Sports today. And getting back to last night, just a second, you said that the defense in front of UC hadn't necessarily been, or wasn't last night what it had been. Anything in particular that you would have attributed that to? Was that anything that Arizona was doing to maybe kind of get some folks out of position, or was it just a defensive letdown / breakdown, or how would you characterize that?
I think there's been a lot of moving parts in the defense recently, which may play into that. Nashville's been very healthy through much of the season until recently, and a lot of the injuries have been blue liners. You've had Dante Fabro out, who has played exceptionally well with Roman Josi when he's been healthy. Jeremy Lauzon has been out of the lineup, and he adds an element to this defense that, people think, he's great at hits. People think, oh, well, that's nothing. Well, it does play into the game a little bit. Spencer Stasny was called up and he missed some games as well. Alexander Carrier out with an upper body injury now. So I think there's just been a lot of movement on the defense as far as the pairings. Even in practice, you really haven't been able to pinpoint who is Andrew Brunette liking together in practice. So he's kind of been rotating that. Tyson Barrie in the lineup after being out of the lineup for a while. So some of it may just be a little bit of they're out of the groove. Also, so much about Andrew Brunette's system is about getting out of the defensive zone quickly. That first pass from a defender out of the zone. And several of those passes last night were intercepted by Arizona that resulted in goals. So just cleaning up some of that stuff from the defense, and also just being in front of that net where UC Saros needs you to be, I think is going to help the Predators as well. But I think some of it is just unsettled rotation in the lineup. And some of it could just be a little bit of fatigue as well. But I do think they're going to bounce back.
And you don't want to make the mistake of just blowing off this past 18 games. I mean, it's a long season. You don't want to overblow this thing, but at the same time, again, they're not assured of the playoffs yet. So you got to strike that right balance of taking it seriously, but not taking it too seriously, I guess.
Yeah, it is. There is a way to look at it that gets you motivated and ready to keep going. There is a way to look at this streak where maybe you can get overconfident. And I think the Nashville Predators have done a good job of being where their skates are and kind of keeping things in perspective. That's what they're going to need to do. Saturday night is going to be just as much a mental game as a physical game in Colorado.
Tomorrow, 5:00, Preds at Avs. We'll get you caught up when we come back here on Monday. And we appreciate it. Know you had some technological issues to battle through to get on with us today. We really appreciate you doing so, and look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
Sounds great. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Phillies 2, Braves nothing, top of the 6th. Brandon Marsh with a 2-run homer. Ugh. When we come back
Tough
here
inning.
on Main,
Strider just had his Glavine inning, and now he's thrown 90 pitches. So I'm not sure if he's going to get back out there or not. And if he doesn't, I'm going to throw things because he has 8 strikeouts and he needs 9.
Oh, well, we will see here in a bit, and we will talk about what we are going to be keeping an eye on here over the weekend when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us as we return to the Lee Company studios after this. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's
you got that right, and
that's
bottom line. A buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football, there's a baseball. Maybe it's not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
The weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Coming down the home stretch, our final segment of the week. Yay. Yeah, are you excited?
I am, man. I'm really excited about this weekend and the United Football League and all the things that go along with that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. I may actually have to peek in on some of that. The Rock's new endeavor, I guess. What do we got? We got a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon on Fox and a doubleheader Sunday afternoon on ESPN. Birmingham and Arlington at I
Two
guess 12
champs.
noon. Oh yeah. Okay, well that's the way
Yeah,
you
it's
get it
the
started
USFL
off, right?
champ. Yeah. Yep. XFL champ, USFL champ, and here we go. Let's settle this
Okay.
thing once and for all. First out
Right
of the
here,
gate.
right now. That's it. Followed by St. Louis and Michigan at 3 Central on Fox. On Sunday, you got DC and San Antonio at 11 on ESPN, followed by Memphis and Houston at 2 on ESPN. From what you know, Chris, about this merger and these teams, what jumps out at you?
Well, I mean, simple fact is that the Birmingham Stallions have won 2 USFL championships and may have gotten better. And one of the reasons that I think everyone in this league has gotten better, if for no other reason than there are half as many teams. So the player pool obviously shrunk a little bit. So you have a little more concentrated talent in these 8 teams. And I think that's the most important thing here is that, if spring football is going to be successful, you have to do 2 things. Number 1, you have to be entertaining and do things a little bit unique. And 2, you have to have good talent. You just have to have good football play. And I'll just run down some of the names here that are playing in the UFL this year.
Mm-hmm.
AJ McCarron, Vic Beasley, Kiki Kuti, DJ Swearinger, Matt Corral, who will start for Birmingham at quarterback, but Adrian Martinez will also play. You'll remember Amari Rogers.
Yeah.
Reuben
Former
Foster.
Knoxville Catholic receiver, played at Clemson.
Correct.
Yeah. T. Martin's
Reuben
son.
Foster. Yes, T. Martin's son.
Okay.
Reuben Foster. Danny Etling will be the Michigan Panthers quarterback. Okay. Houston Roughnecks quarterback, Jarrett Garantano.
Okay.
Sucks for them. They're not going to be very good. Oops. Arlington, by the way, coached by, of course, Bob Stoops.
That's interesting to me.
Well, I mean, clearly there's not much to do in the offseason in the UFL because Skip Holtz spent most of his year in Chicago with Northwestern. So.
DC Defenders head coach Reggie Barlow, formerly of Alabama State, I believe.
Yep.
And his offensive coordinator is former Tennessee State quarterback Shannon Harris. So,
man,
on them.
The coaching staff for Birmingham, you know who their defensive coordinator is, don't you? John Javis.
That's awesome.
It just goes to show why they've been so good defensively over the last couple of years, led by Scooby Wright, who's been just an absolute, monster. One, he's a fan favorite, but also had that pick 6 to seal the USFL championship 2 years ago. And then they've, and I know, obviously, I know a little bit more about Birmingham, but these guys, DeMarcus Gates out of Ole Miss, probably going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. This wide receiver group is ridiculous. Marlon Williams of UCF, Amari Rogers, Deion Kane out of Clemson, Benjamin Victor from Ohio State, and then they've got the tight end. I can't remember his name. Jay Sternberger, who played at Texas A&M.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they are just absolutely loaded. And then, Matt Corral is a very good quarterback. He is very much a quad A quarterback, right? I mean, this is the type of league that he and AJ McCarron can be successful in.
Yeah.
And that's why I think AJ McCarron is probably going to be your MVP. I think, you're going to see a lot of the same things that you saw last year, and that's the Battlehawks being successful. Now, Arlington won the league last year with a losing record. They made and won the league with a losing record. So I think it's good. And like I said, I guess Wednesday on the show, that I think the Stallions and the Battlehawks will play in St. Louis for the championship. But this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, man. I'm telling you, just because of the concentrated talent. And a lot of these guys, I mean, Reuben Foster, why, what reason does he have to play in this league? Well, just to play football. And a lot of these guys are going to do that. They just want to. Unfortunately, the XFL kickoff rule that the NFL has adopted will not be used. So if you're a fan of the old kickoff, tune in Saturday, because it's be the only place you'll be able to find it.
You mentioned John Chavis, defensive coordinator of the Stallions, 67-year-old John Chavis.
And again, it's a part-time job. And this is simply, you don't have to do anything but coach. And you only have to do it for about 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Why not? If you want to coach, this to me seems like the least taxing.
Yeah.
And so that's why you're seeing guys like Bob Stoops and John Chavis and other guys, who don't have to coach, but want to coach and don't want to deal with all the other BS that goes on with coaching at any other level.
Hello. Something to be said for it.
USFL rules, by the way, they do not kick extra points. You run an offensive play for 1, 2, or 3 points, depending on how far away you are from the goal line.
So they have no kickers in, huh? Other than whoever kicks off?
Well, they have kickers for field goals.
Okay.
But there's also there's something weird with punts. Like if the punt goes out of bounds inside the 20, I think it's a touchback. I don't think you can coffin corner it. Because they're trying to encourage punt returns. And then onside kicks don't exist. It's 4th and 15 from your own 30, I think. So a lot of unique rules, a lot of things that we'll see, you'll see them try, and maybe the NFL will adopt. So, and of course they spot the ball with they've got the little tracker in the ball. And so if there's a close first down, they don't measure it. They do it like the tennis and the baseball challenge system. It goes up to the video board.
Laser sights. Huh?
Yep. It goes up to the video board and you can see it there. So a lot of unique things. Obviously, when you're listening on Fox, the announcers will not talk for a drive, and that you'll just hear the conversation between the coach and the player and the quarterback and that sort of thing. So that gets kind of neat too.
I mentioned the DC Defenders a minute ago. Among their receivers is one Chris Rowland.
Yeah, he and his brother had signed to play for Philadelphia, and then Philadelphia got cut from the USFL league.
Right.
And so Chris still had a spot. I don't think his brother has one currently, unless it's on a practice squad somewhere.
Yeah, I don't believe he is in the league at this time.
But again, that's part of that contracting of the talent level. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. You've got to be a really good player to make this league.
Yeah. Besides the UFL, obviously,
some arena football news. Did you see that they announced that Gray TV? So they'll be on some of those .2 channels across the state. you can watch Nashville and Memphis, Knoxville, and Nashville on the I think it's WSMV here in Nashville on 4.2.
I'm not familiar with that. I did not see that. So that's
well, if you have an antenna, then you're familiar with the 0.2 channels.
Right.
So like the Me TV and whatnot, where they show all the old Westerns. I love that channel. One of my favorites. Anyway, that's just, alt football news for the day.
There we go. Are you going to try to sneak in a nap before 9 o'clock? What's the plan between now and then?
Probably. I mean, honestly, I know, like, I'll have to be up with the kids, but may put them down at 7:30/8, and I may lay down with them for about 30 to 45 minutes before I get up and try to make it to the end of the ball game, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's going to be a challenge for sure. Joe Jimenez came in and pitched the sixth for the Braves.
There goes my $10.
And got a strikeout.
Of course.
Got Spencer's strikeout. Yeah, still 2-0. Top of the seventh. Darno is up with a runner on. So nobody out.
You've got Darno up? I had Sean Murphy up. Did Darno come in?
Darno is at the plate.
So
maybe he's pinch hitting for someone.
He pinch hit for Murphy. That's wild.
And struck out for Murphy, apparently.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. This says injury delay.
Perhaps it was an injury to
Murphy. I hope
yep, it was. Okay, so Murphy took a ball, fouled off 2 pitches, and then Darno hit for Sean Murphy, and he swung at the pitch.
Yeah.
A 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now RC is up.
Oh, well. I'll be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because good things just happened.
Well, yeah. And I'm looking at my game day app on my phone, and yes, good things did just happen. So, yeah.
RC.
You almost got it out of there.
Just about. Okay. Just about. So that's man. That's kind of my, obviously I'll be paying attention tonight to the Sweet 16, and of course tomorrow the Elite 8 matchups, and then Sunday as well, and then of course the women's tournament. It's going to be a really great weekend of sports. This is about this starts getting into the end of my Saturday availabilities.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, my Saturday unavailability is from like 8 until 2-ish probably, and I'm umpiring early tomorrow and then trying to get down to Columbia State. C-State and is it Jackson State that they're playing tomorrow?
No idea. Could not tell you.
Hang on just a second.
In softball, baseball,
Baseball. Yeah, C-State is playing at home tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Gonna run out there and check them.
Likely easier to get down here on a weekend.
On a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jackson State is correct. They play noon tomorrow.
They are currently playing. They had a 2:00 game today, and then I think they've got a 12 noon doubleheader tomorrow. So I'll come off the field and run down there and check out Desi Ammons' Chargers, see how they're doing. They are 9-3, I believe, in conference play right now. So
there you go.
So somehow,
what?
What's up?
Good news. Tie ball game.
You are slightly ahead of me.
I apologize, but the Brian Snicker not wasting any time, not trusting guys as he is pinch hitting all over the place.
Well, Murphy was an injury of some sort apparently, but who
Darno pinch hit for Kelnick and doubled, and now we're tied.
Duval pinch hit for Kelnick.
Is that not what I said? What did I say?
No, you said Darno.
That's what I meant. Duval, Darno, all the D's.
Yeah, a lot of D's. Yes.
So, man. And then of course we'll be watching the Braves if you can find it.
Yeah. There's a race this weekend, right?
The ability. Yeah. It's
Richmond?
Richmond. Yeah. And then of course it's Easter. Yes, I'll be down at my parents' on Sunday.
Oh, okay. You'll be traveling.
Yeah, I'll take the kids to see Mama and Pop.
You gonna hide some Easter eggs?
We'll hide Easter eggs for Charlie and Chan up here on Saturday. And then on Sunday, yeah, there's usually a pretty big Easter egg hunt that everybody gets involved in because there's a pretty big prize egg that even the big kids are interested in finding.
Even the adults?
When I say big kids, I mean
adults. Okay.
I mean, me and my brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Easter though. Easter's always fun. It's, get down there, eat a good lunch, get back home just in time to put the kids down and go to sleep. I'm for that, by the way. That's a good day.
Okay. All right. Well,
let's get out of here. What do you say?
Let's go ahead and call it a week here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We will return to the Lee Company studios at 2 p.m. Monday. I'm going to see who's with me. We will talk to y'all then. Y'all have a great Easter weekend. See you Monday.